Hey, Paul here. Thought I'd make a little video of a recent repair I just did. This is a repair I did on a Sanyo EZ20. It took me a little bit to figure out, but turned out LA 1464 was bad. The symptom was when it would power up, I would get raster lines, and no matter how far I turned the screen control down, the raster lines would not go away. I went through the whole chassis looking for shorted parts in the contrast and the brightness circuits, and I couldn't find anything. Eventually, I came up to LA 1464. I looked on the schematic. I was thinking there might be something wrong with the blanking circuit. As you can see here in the schematic, there's a blanking circuit. If you go down, it's pin 7 is the out for the blanking circuit, and it should be 4.4 volts if everything is operating correctly. So I took the chassis, put it back on my testing rig, and I fired it up and took a voltage reading, and it was only registering 1 volt. So there was obviously a issue there. I checked all the other voltages just to make sure everything else on the chip was good as far as voltages went. So I measured the voltage coming. I ohmed out all the chip legs to see if there was any odd readings, and pin 7 was reading 131 ohms, which isn't completely shorted, but it's shorted enough to cause this problem. So I pulled this chip just to make sure it was the chip and not something else on the board. I hooked up some alligator clips to my meter, and sure enough, it's 130 volts. So this chip was bad. Unfortunately, these chips are getting very rare and hard to find. I just used my last one. I'm going to have to buy some more. These chips retail between 40 and 50 bucks, if you could even find them. But that's all. I had some new old stock chips. I used my last one on this guy, and I repaired it. Now it looks great. If I go over here, we are looking perfect. Let's see where my no more raster lines. Everything's looking good. Everything is perfect on it. Took me a few hours to figure it out, because these chips rarely go bad, but I guess they're going to start going bad more and more. I socketed this chip just in case it wasn't that, and I could just pull it out and put the old chip back in. But that was the case. The chip was bad. Besides that, everything is working good on it. This chip is toast. It was a little rusty on the legs, so I pulled it anyway to inspect it to make sure no legs were rotted off, but that's not the case. So, just a bad chip, unfortunately. They're getting harder and harder to find. That's it. I'll box this guy up and send it back to you. See you.